Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the Hot Moving Podcast. Uh, I think a lot of people saw this coming. Ain't nobody wanted James Harden, man. Like, the Clippers have bowed out of the James Harden sweepstakes. I mean, look, I always thought that trade scenario made no sense. I mean, why would the Clippers want to trade Paul George and Kawhi Leonard for James Harden? Both guys are injury prone, okay? And then you're gonna trade one of them for James Harden. And we know James Harden collapses in the postseason. It wouldn't have been a positive for either team. Okay, cool. If the Clippers actually agreed to make that trade, good luck with getting one of those guys and having them for the duration of the season and the postseason to play along with Joel Embiid, who also tends to get nicked up. I mean, this year was fairly healthy, and I mean, he did play in the playoffs. He did tough it out. So, with a knee injury. I mean, look, the Sixers are going to make James Harden come to camp, so they're done with the trade talks. They clearly won a good package for him. Not the case for a player who's turning 34 years old and coming off a horrible Game 6 and Game 7 against the Boston Celtics in these recent playoffs. So what do they do with James Harden? Absolutely nothing. James Harden, these games aren't working anymore. You're 34 years old. You had your time, man. Make it work in Philadelphia for one more season. You had to opt in to get that money because if you were a free agent, he wasn't going to get $34 million. So he opted in hoping that, hey, I got my bag. Now they can trade me to a destination. Teams are kind of waking up now. Teams are not going to mortgage their future for aging superstars. Or what? 35 million, right? Not 34 million, 35 million. 35.6 million is what he opted into. So teams are not going to mortgage their future for an aging superstar like James Harden. Okay? Give up all your draft picks, give up everything, whatever it is, empty your cupboard for James Harden. Now, Sixers, they want something sizable back. They want a player who's going to more than contribute to pair along with Joel Embiid and get them right back to the semifinals, the Eastern Conference semis. Good luck with that. Teams are not buying into it anymore. Teams will rather just tank, keep their draft capital, and build from there. No matter how long it takes, they will prefer to stay in the lottery, and I don't blame them. Why would you mortgage your future for James Harden, especially if he gets sent to a team good and well knowing that he is not going to want to stay there? No more tricks. This is not going to work. Everywhere James Harden's gone, he wanted to trade from Houston. Okay, you got traded. You go to Brooklyn, it didn't work out. Not entirely his fault, but you didn't want to stick around to stay with KD. You wanted to bounce. You bounced. You go to Philadelphia, cool. You are with Joel Embiid, arguably one of the best top two big men in the NBA, if not the best big man in the NBA. I know people like Jokic, some people like Giannis. Pick your flavor, but you're paired along with one of those guys, right? And now requested a trade after opting in, and nobody wants them. And the Sixers are expecting you to show up to camp to collect that bag and to perform. So yeah, Sixers are no longer in trying to trade him anymore. I mean, clearly the Clippers was the only team they were looking to do business with, or at least the Clippers were maybe showing interest, but I believe the Clippers probably most likely backed out of that because it made no sense for them. As banged up as Paul George and Kawhi Leonard is, they are better off staying packed and praying that both guys can stay healthy in time for the playoffs, as they are building a new arena and are trying to build for the future. So I mean, they got some questions with their own players on if they want to extend Kawhi and Paul George. So a wash. So look, Dame and James Harden were the two biggest names this NBA offseason in terms of wanting to be traded, right? Damian Lillard seemed a little more, to me personally, it seemed a little more valuable than James Harden. They didn't find a trade. James Harden, the Sixers, they couldn't find a trade. So what that tells me is that teams, again, are no longer trying to mortgage their entire future. As great as Dame is, clearly there's not a package good enough. I mean, there was never going to be a package good enough to get Dame. For James Harden, that's a tough one. I mean, I'm sure there's some teams that would have made a trade possibly, but does James Harden want to go there knowing that he's going to bounce after a year? You know, you mortgage your whole future just for James Harden to give you a half-ass season and then split. Yeah, so I'm not surprised by this. I mean, when James Harden announced that he wanted to get traded, I just was always in the mindset, to who? To where? What team is going to be stupid enough to bring him on without elite, or like, look, if he got traded and it didn't cost the team that much in terms of getting up a lot of draft capital and you can keep some of your core players intact for James Harden, okay, but that's a one-sided trade. Sixers clearly still want a lot for James Harden, and that's going to be hard. That's not possible. So James Harden he needs to show up to camp in shape and try to win a championship this year with Joel Embiid. Because look, if they start the season with James Harden, it's going to be very hard for whoever they trade for to compete and continue on. You know what I'm saying, in the playoffs, or make a serious playoff push. Like James Harden, as bad as he was in this postseason, especially in that Boston Celtics series for those last two important games, like you were in that situation with him. You know what I'm saying? So keep James Harden and try to make it work. Hopefully the new coach, Nick Nurse, can infuse something good. Give it a shot, and maybe that's the mindset of the Sixers. But the James Harden trading games is over. Nobody took the bait, and I'm not surprised. Let me know what y'all think about the Sixers giving up on trading for now for James Harden. I just find it very interesting. I just never thought that James Harden was going to get traded, honestly. Like, for who? I was always for who? Who was going to be who's going to be the trade partner? Eyes were on the Clippers. That made no sense for me, though. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Leave me your thoughts. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.